when she would turn main. I was firing, she was gasoline. Yeah, I was firing, she was gasoline.
Welcome to The Tools They Use, a series produced by Tekamo for our tool supplier, FortisHD.com.
American flag, because we live in America.
To see more tours like this, be sure to subscribe to the Fortis HD channel. And if you're in need of tooling, head over to FortisHD.com.
Just fits over the rod, and then it's a pin that goes through and push and pull to tighten or loosen the gland.
In this episode, we take a look at a very important role at a hydraulic cylinder manufacturing plant.
My name is Justin Sims. I'm a quality and warranty hydraulic repairman, and these are the tools I use in my everyday job. We never use those.
Where'd you buy them?
So starting on this end, I have all my large hammers and dead blows. I've got a couple stop-made spanner wrenches, different chains and lifting devices, extended breaker bar, some odds and end abrasives, and then extension cord. Come over here to the workbench top. So this is where we do all of our seal installation and removal, all of our pictures that we take of stuff that we have to show to the customer, or any fine work. Got all my universal wrenches, as we like to call them, up here. Assortment of screwdrivers, small pry bars, vice grips, different assortment of pliers. A good tool for hydraulic repair is a good set of seal spoons and picks. So these are nitride coated so that they don't scratch or leave any kind of residue. And that is a must-have, is good seal spoons and seal picks. We have the shorter ones, and we use the standard picks sometimes. The spoons and picks, definitely, and different lengths and reaches of them. So we have this other brand too. It's a pink brand, whatever that is. I don't know what brand. Oh, here we go. Hercules. That's Harbor Freight, ain't it? So, and these are nice. It's just an assortment of different picks and jobbers and grabbers. We use those every day. We got an assortment of metric and standard Allen heads. A couple different shop-made tools for testing cylinders. Different SAE port plugs that we bored out to be able to shoot air into cylinders. Non-ratcheting, standard and metric wrenches. And then we've got all our ratcheting standard and metric wrenches. We've got our larger size sockets, zip ties. Over here we have all of our grease fittings, both thread in and knock in, with a grease fitting installation tool for our knock in grease fittings. Large sockets down here, I have them all labeled, all metric and standard. Those are for all our piston nuts. We originally tried just to put paint marker over the manufacturer's number, but it's still too small. And from a distance, I can see over here, hey, that's a 2-inch, that's the one I need. Red is standard and blue is metric across the board through all the tools, so everything's red for standard and blue for metric. So just easy identification, even though it never does, because you always grab this one when you really need this one, and you go work your way down the line. Here we have all our extensions and adapters, thread files here on this magnet, a few Torx bits, we don't really use them much, and then we've got all our 1/4, 3/8, and 1/2-inch drive sockets, metric over here, standard over here, and then actually all our 1/4-inch drive sockets are over here on this end. Some extra seal picks and spoons over here, and then our gloves. All brands, Gear Wrench, Snap-on, Matco. We've got Craftsman, you name it, we've got it. We're not brand specific or picky. Whatever's the best price or has the best deal on an assortment. So down here in our toolbox is where we keep all our valuable stuff. That one's Craftsman. This one is Champion, which I think is the rebrand of Lista. We've got everything labeled to speed up the process once again. Wire brushes and scrapers, dummy plugs for cartridge valves and PO check valves so that we can test cylinders without blowing out the plugs. All sorts of colors and variations of paint pens and markers. Scotch-Brite stamp kit so that we can stamp plugs and stamp cylinders. Quality hold and quality approved tags in here. Something's gonna be sitting for a while, that way we know what's what. Miscellaneous tags, tap and die sets, anti-seize, super glue, Loctite of various kinds and colors. And then we've also got our fine piece drill bit set. That's everything down to a number 56. And moving on down to this side, we got OD spanner wrenches, different sizes. And so this is for spanner holes on the outside of the cylinder gland. We've got face spanner wrenches of different sizes, T-handle Allen wrenches, assortment of handmade and threaded attachments. That way if we don't have a cross tube or a clevis or something on the end of a cylinder rod, we can either thread this onto the machine threads or into the machine threads and into the rod. Just give us something to help pull the rod out of the cylinder. And then in here we've got rope, ratchet straps, assortment of D-rings, shackles, pins, bolts, clamps, all sorts of just random stuff that we use for lifting. And here we've got our hammers, claw hammers, ball peen hammers, mini sledge. We've got deburr tools, all our snap ring pliers, couple files, rod seal installation tools, our oxyacetylene file kit. And this is all our extended spanner wrenches. When these little ones won't do the job, don't get enough leverage, we have those same spanner wrenches that we've either welded a bar to the end of, or we've got ones that we've made to fit different size holes. Sometimes we'll break 3 or 4 on one cylinder. So it all depends on how long the cylinder's been sitting, you know, if it's been in the field for a year, or if we put red Loctite on it, or if it's rust jack. There's so many different variables, but we go through them a lot. In here, we've got all our taps and drill bits and all our lathe tools. All our taps, short drill jobbers and drill bits, all our bigger drill bits. We've got end mills, a couple easy outs, deburr tools, center and punches. Got my most common lathe tools in here that I use. So we've got a button insert, a WNMG standard insert, and that's for if we either have a weld leak in the base of a cylinder and we have to re-weld it, or if we have a rod end that's either crooked or broken off. Those are just the 2 inserts I use the most to be able to accomplish getting a new rod end on there. Tap wrenches. Down here we got all our air tools and abrasives, flapper wheels, side grinders, cutoff wheels. We got a set of bolt cutters in here. You never know when you may need those. All our different abrasives that go along with all our air tools. And I just keep a small stock in here so I don't have to go to the listed cabinet and get more out. I always have extras right here. And then down here, we got strap and chain wrenches, a couple of different lifting bolts that we use on common cylinders, all my Allen wrenches, and then a portaband. So the red toolbox is for all our power tools. I got a couple extra battery chargers up here, and then on the side we have a pack out battery charger, so I can charge 3 of the 18 volt and then the 12 volt on top. 6 and 12 inch calipers and a caliper scribe, extra safety glasses, razor knives. Any extra batteries that I'm not needing on a tool and that are charged, I'll store in here. And then I've got all my punches and chisels. We got drill, high-speed deburr, and then small drills and small impact in here. All our impacts are in here. So we have 3/8 drive, 1 full-size 3/8 drive, a 1/2 inch, a 3/4 inch, and a 1 inch. We're trying to get doubles of everything, so we got 2 of the stubby. It's just nice to have, especially, you know, too, if we have, some of our cylinders have 2 different size ports on it, so instead of having to take a 1/4 inch square drive and then a 3/8 hex drive and have, you know, take it and swap them back and forth, you can just have 1 on each. We're doing a job of like 12, 15 cylinders or something, we can both work side by side without having to share tools. So we use the small stubby impacts to take port plugs out, the 1/2 inch, mostly the 3/4 nowadays. We pretty much don't even use that 1/2 inch anymore, or the 1 inch on piston nuts to be able to take the nut off with the stem of the rod. And down here we got Sawzall, cordless grinder, and corded grinder. We're lucky enough to work at a company that will buy all our tools for us, but still at the end of the day, even though you can go to your boss and say, hey, I want another tool, tools tend to sprout legs and walk away. So this, I can put a chain on that. Both those toolboxes have locks on them, then I can lock the whole thing down. And then in here, this is kind of my scrap storage. So we've got our assortment of port plugs in case either we lose one or customer returns the cylinder without them. We can send it back out with port plugs in it. I've got extra tape, trash bags, hose clamps, pig rags up here for swabbing cylinders, an assortment of threaded rod, all thread. I got extra caster wheels for whenever we get a flat tire on one of these carts, scrap metal, spacer rings, those come in real handy. And then this is all round stock, square and bar stock, angle iron. We got a couple lifting devices in here that we've made over years. We got one cylinder that doesn't have any kind of threading or attachment or anything on the end of the rod. It's just a ball end. It's a big outrigger cylinder. The grease cover outrigger cap goes, this fits in that groove, and I'm able to lift it with a crane and pull the rod out. And then this one is for another style cylinder. This just fits over the rod, and then it's a pin that goes through the pinhole. That's the only attachment on the cylinder. These are for their trash compactor cylinders. So we get them all the time where we're not able to pull the rod out without using the crane in the vertical position. Got to yank the rod out because they get trash and debris in them. They get locked up. Just an assortment of random that I'll probably never use, but I won't throw away. My extensive supply of deburr tools and chipping hammers that I'll never need. Got a really expensive set. I can't even remember the name of them now. Probably says on there. Oh, adjustable blade reamers. Yeah, we never use those. Where'd you buy them? Some random extra stuff in here. I got 4 sets of these pliers, so I keep one in there. I never use air tools unless it's a grinder, so that's just something we kind of have laying around. This is something we made for something. It worked at this job the one time we needed it. More chipping hammers, can never have too many of those. Extra sockets and wrenches, and so these are all duplicates of stuff that we have over there. Hold on to them in case we break them. This is my homemade slide hammer that I got all these extensions for. So what I was doing earlier, trying to get that piston out of that cylinder, I have extensions, and this is as far as I have to extend it yet, but eventually I'll have to extend it probably 6 foot, and this allows us to grab on to the back side of a piston if the rod strips out of the cylinder and slide hammer the piston all the way out of the cylinder. We've got a corded bandsaw, jigsaw, and then a cardboard box stapler in there. Over here, we've got 2 halos is what we call them. So it's another version of a spanner wrench. So those spanner wrenches go in the single hole on the side of the gland. Well, these allow us to go into both holes and then get extra leverage. So this will slip completely over the rod of the cylinder. We'll tighten these down, and then we can both get on each side of it and push and pull to tighten or loosen the gland. Medium and semi-medium cylinders. And then in here, we've got our hot work booth. Belt sander. The only thing we use this for is sharpening tungsten. We've got our Miller TIG machine, and then our MIG machine up top. Our wire feeder sits on top of our MIG machine. And then we got a Miller Digital Elites. And this one's the pink zebra flavor. It's all right. It works, no need to replace it. Big spool of wire, and this is our weld table. And then we've got rollers, so anything that's round or we got to roll, we got rollers. We'll throw a cylinder, a rod, or anything like that on it. Different grinders and clamps and more hammers, another chipping hammer. Yeah, that's about it. So I used it yesterday, or 3 times this week, but then I might go a month without having to re-weld it. So up top, we got about all this stuff. A couple miscellaneous hoses that we use if we ever have to test an HPU. We'll hook it up to one of these cylinders, that way we can check the function of the HPU. Another box of random all pegboard stuff. American flag, because we live in America. A whole case of Magnaflux, and no Magnaflux kit to use it, so that's just gonna stay there. Got a whole assortment of O-rings, another O-ring kit, and then we've got a bore scope, and then we've got a dye penetrant fault finder test. Crown brand, cheapest one they make. I think that's all that's up here. That's just extra welding supplies. These are our 2 Wilton vices. This is our big vise. We use it 99% of the time. That one we'll use if we're doing smaller cylinders or if we're both working on something at the same time. We used to have 2 of those stands, which are nice. Spin them and adjust them. That way if we have a long cylinder or we have room, if we got to tighten or loosen a gland that's real tight, it helps us push down on something. So that's nice, but we got tired of having to spin it and lift the cylinder up and spin it to get it level. This one, we just got a hand pump on it. And this is just a cylinder welded to a tree that I made. And you can take it and lower it down or raise it up to fit whatever size cylinder you're working on. So you'll notice this vise is 6-8 inches in front of this one. We actually had to move this one back 6-8 inches and pour a new pad in there because we ripped it out of the ground. The way we did that is with this vertical vise that I built. I tried different, like pipe vices they use in like electrical industry and stuff like that. They always broke. So I just took a big piece of plate steel and another piece, welded it together, took some angle iron, welded on here, and then this is a 80 size chain, I think. You just pull this Freddy Krueger looking thing out, adjust whatever size you want, and then I got holes drilled in here for this pin to fit in. So it gives us something solid to pull against or to sit on, and then just fine until it lines up, and then you can tighten down this bolt over here and it'll hold whatever cylinder you want vertically. So we use that for all our big cylinders that we can't pull out with 2 of us pulling on the rod. I've been looking at the Fireball hardtail vices. Heard a lot of good things about them, but I don't want to pay the ungodly price he's asking for them, and they're also a lot longer. So this is nice because it's compact. I think it's 10-inch or 12-inch width on it, which isn't bad. We really don't have much more, anything bigger than that. On this little vise, we have just a little tool stand. We got another one mounted on this one. So we can put hydraulic lines on here. These are quick disconnect lines to test cylinders. We've got an extender it's slotted for our spanner wrenches. A couple different cheater bars just to be able to slide in the rod end cylinders and pull them out. Hammer holder. I made a wheel for this vise because those take too long to open and close. So this one you can just spin the wheel and open and close it real quick. This is our test unit. It was designed to have big doors on it that close down, lead doors, and then had vices mounted on here, and then they do destructive testing of cylinders. So they pretty much pressurize until they fail. And we repurposed it. It's running off this HPU over here, and then a Rockwell automation system off this controller. And the only thing we use on it is the maintenance setting, and that just allows us to hydraulically extend, retract, and then air extend, retract any cylinder, and we can go from 900 to 4,500 PSI. And those are just all our hydraulic fittings. So SAE and MPT, quick disconnects on them, which hook up to our test hoses, which makes everything a lot faster. And then this also locks so that these don't sprout legs and walk away as well. I guess that's about it.
How did you become a hydraulic cylinder repair tech?
So I started out welding, I guess it would have been 2014 in Georgia, and was looking for a job to move up here to be close to my wife's family. I started out here at Bailey welding on the night shift. I spent a year doing that. Had no want or need or business getting into the warranty or repair side of things. And they asked me one day, hey, you want to get off night shift, which I was looking to get off night shift, and come work in our warranty department. And I said yes, and I've been doing it since and love it.
What type of jobs are you usually doing?
We may have, like today we have 2 cylinders in here that failed in the field. Those are grapple cylinders for a scrapyard. Right now, that's all we have to work on. So we're going to investigate those, figure out why they failed, how they failed. If it's covered under warranty, we'll repair them. If not, we'll tell the customer, hey, they're not covered under warranty. Do you want to pay to have them repaired? And we'll repair them. Some days we have special services, what we call it. So we'll take stock cylinders off the shelf, modify them to fit a customer's need. If they only want 1 or 2 cylinders instead of, running a whole custom batch through the shop, or if they need them instantly and they don't have time to send them to the shop. We do returns, so all our returns that come in the building, if someone orders a stock cylinder off the shelf, decides they don't need it or they ordered the wrong size, we process those. And then other than that, it's just contacting customers and figuring out why shit broke.
You mentioned you had a service truck. How often do you go out in the field?
Not very often, probably only 4 or 5 times a year. It's nice, we don't have to lay in the mud and deal with greasy equipment, since we only deal with the cylinders themselves off the equipment and send it to us. Every once in a while, yeah, and most of the time it's for big batch repair. So if we installed the wrong seal or we made a revision and the customer has 500 cylinders, it's easier for us to go to them to fix them all than have them ship them all back to us.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to do what you do?
Don't do it. Advice. That's the only advice would be have a strong back and, I don't know.
What inspired you to get into hydraulic cylinder diagnostics?
Money. I needed a job. I like working with my hands. I've always been interested in learning how things work and seeing how things fail. So this gives me a chance every day to investigate, figure out. The customer tells me one thing, you got to figure out what actually caused the failure. And it's a lot of thinking and a lot of yeah.
How often do you buy tools?
Yes, so we have a tool budget for the warranty and quality department that we're allowed to spend on tools. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. As we figure out we need things, most of the time we just build tools here. If it's not, a socket or a wrench or an electric tool, any kind of specialty tools, we just make them. We have an unlimited supply of scrap metal, and we got manual lathes and manual mills that we just make our own tools. We buy an impact probably every 6 months just because we're trying to get duplicates of everything, or when a new one comes out. We burn through batteries pretty quick. It's not very, costly. Once you're started, then it's just replacing stuff. Unlike some people, we're not addicted to the tools where we have to have, 50 of everything, every little niche tool, so.
What else do you have going on?
So there's times where I'll make tools for assembly or machine. We'll make random tools for them just because we, have downtime. if we don't have a lot of warranty stuff coming back. There's times where we go work with them and help out with them if we're super slow. So.
Yeah, I was firing, she was gasoline.
My name's Justin, and these are all the tools I use every day. Hope y'all enjoyed. If you have any questions or comments, let me know.
For a full rundown on the handmade tools, each one will get a Tools of the Trade episode, which will be linked in the description. If DIY isn't your thing and you want to buy tools instead, head over to FortisHD.com.
So I think I saw on Instagram, and I was like, that's pretty funny, that guy's hilarious. And so I went on y'all's channel on YouTube and been watching y'all's videos since then.
Tekamo Podcast, once a week. Find it on YouTube at Tekamo News, Spotify, or Apple. Stay tuned, we got more videos with Bailey Group coming up.
Left me as many times as I threw her out. Should we stay together or apart? But it's hard to be alone, and the future seemed I was firing, she was gasoline. But when we got locked up in the Chester County Jail, we both knew it was too far